Protect your nuts. Protect your nuts. Protect your nuts. Tiny terror in the tree line cuts. He'll drop from the power line, show you what's riding his hip. Thumb stud flipper, front flick spine. He lives for that perfect click. Spreading word to the backyard crew. Check this edge, feel that grind. Every acorn, every review, carved with a steel tooth mine. Whoa. He's the EDC Squirrel, stashing the bark. Blade in the daylight, blade in the dark. From the curb to the cul-de-sac rut, sharpen your wits end. Protect your nuts. Protect your nuts. Protect your nuts. Tiny terror in the tree line cuts. Climb high, tree line thrown in the storm. Cold bite, metal heart staying warm. If you mess with a scribe or his heart, you'll hear one battle cry roar. From the brush, protect your nuts. Protect your nuts. He's the EDC Squirrel, stashing the bark. Blade in the daylight, blade in the dark. From the mail call crate to the gutter front rut, sharpen your wits end. Protect your nuts. Protect your nuts. Protect your nuts. Little legend with the pocket cut guts. Boom.
Hey, it's the EDC Squirrel here, and how's everybody doing? It's another Saturday. It is Saturday, August 8th, and we're here for another Saturday knife chat with the EDC Squirrel. How's everybody doing today? Hope you're doing okay. Hey, Terry. Hey, Groundfog. Hey, Zach, Morgan, Jeff. Glad you guys could make it. Sorry for the late start. A, woke up early. B, had a lot of stuff I had to take care of. So trying to get everything set up and get everything in order took a little longer than I expected. But we're here now and just basically going to chat today. A few things. As you saw in the title, talking about modern slip joints. And I actually have some pretty good reasoning for that. Happy International Cat Day, everybody. It is hot as balls. Yeah, it's warm. I got my air going. But we're talking about modern slip joints today. I've only got really one new knife this last week, and dealing with carpal tunnel, which is fun. But anyway, let's get things started, and let me get rid of this screen thing. Whatchamahoozits. There we go. Okay, so before we begin, I'm trying to consciously make this like the first thing I do because everybody usually asks and then I forget. But what was in your pocket today? I know I'll probably have to go over this a couple times, but what was in your pocket? What was your EDC for today? I was out and about for a little bit, but I'm always carrying something. And for today, actually for the last couple days, my carry has been, I realized I just have a bunch of stuff on my table and didn't think about it. I had my my Concept Loki, titanium scales, and I believe this was S35VN. Now, yes, I have, I'm going to remove this brace. I don't have to have this brace on all the time. And one of the reasons why I was carrying this is one of the few I can still reverse flick. Oddly enough, and I'll explain all that stuff in a little bit, but there we go. Frame lock, titanium. Like I said, I believe this is S35VN. Yes, S35VN steel. And I've got, I know that looks weird. I have spray bandage on my finger. I'm off to a great start. S35VN steel. Awesome. Actually, one of my favorite pocket carries, to be quite honest. I just love this knife. I love the blade shape. I just love the profile. And really nice and grippy. But that was in my pocket today. And I always carry a slip joint with me. The slip joint that I had with me today, and the last couple of days I've been carrying with this, is that that Mediterranean blue mini trapper that I toasted not too long ago, a couple weeks back. So I've been carrying that in a slip joint, or carrying that in a slip pouch in my pocket, and then also been carrying my Olight O Pen 3, which is also doubles as a flashlight. But that was in my pocket today. Let me know what was in your pocket. What was your EDC carry? That's what I've been carrying. Actually, I've been carrying that. I hadn't switched off, but that's been my carry actually for the entire week. Just about my entire week. You were carrying your German eye. Is that the single blade one, Jeff? Yeah, I had to let that 2i go, that copper one, because it was just a little too much for me, unfortunately. You're just carrying your standard box cutter, trying to clean the house in old boxes. There you go. That works. Yeah, but that was what was in my pocket. Now, before we go any further, what was it? I'm trying to set I know I've been doing this for a while, and I'm just now thinking about setting a sort of structure to this. Got something caught in my throat. I'm trying to set some structure to this. I did get one knife this last week, so new acquirements. This is the only one I have. I've got a couple other knives that were on their way. Unfortunately, none of them made it in the mail in time for the show this week, but I did get one in. The others will come in throughout next week. This one was from Chasing Blades. This is another pocket-worn mahogany bone corncob jig Barlow that, like I said, I got from Chasing Blades. Kind of starting to complete I'm not trying to complete or collect all of them, but I didn't realize how beautiful these mahogany bones were gonna be when I got them. And I just started snapping up everything that I saw. Now I've got the full size, I got the mini, I got the axe handle, although I don't have the anniversary axe handle. I have the regular axe handle version. They have an anniversary axe handle that has that etching on the blade, like this one, the pocket worn, I believe 30th anniversary. Yeah, 30th anniversary pocket worn. This one is in a Barlow profile. You have a clip point for your master, and then a pen blade for your secondary. But I've been really liking these because the mahogany just looks absolutely beautiful. Arrowhead badge on this one, and fluted bolster. I didn't really have many Barlows. I never thought of collecting Barlows at any point, really. They're starting to grow on me, which is probably going to be an issue. There's so many case knives that I get into already. I don't really need to be collecting other patterns, but here I am now snatching up a bunch of Barlows. In fact, I think the first Barlows I had were the Crossroads, and I just got those just to get them. Whoa, Jeff, what? Getting another knife from you? Chasing Blades? No, what? Well, thank you, Jeff. I really appreciate it. Too late to change your mind now if it's already on its way. Oh, great. Thank you, Jeff. I'm Urban Woodsman. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you so much. To do that, but thank you so much. This is the only one I got this week. The Barlow. these mahoganies are new for this year, or they just came out this year, and they've been extremely popular. It's another one of those knives from Case that I think look just super classy, kind of like a gentleman slip joint, I guess you could say. They just have that kind of upscaled look to them. You know, I mean, well, when you think about it, mahogany, if you think mahogany desk, mahogany furniture, you're thinking, you start thinking classy, mansions, people with people with money. So if you like your traditional knives to look classy, the mahogany bone is definitely excuse me. Been drinking soda. The mahogany bone is definitely a way to go. I think they look absolutely beautiful, and these 30th anniversary ones look exceptionally great. I'm gonna go ahead and leave that up there somewhere because I know somebody's gonna want to ask about that eventually. But what we have here today, I did get one more thing. It's not a knife. I did get one more thing, and it is these 3 stickers down below here. I got from Going Gear. Paid $4 for these stickers because I was trying to enter a giveaway, but they came in, so I thought I'd show them. Going Gear, Chasing Blades and Going Gear are 2 knife sellers on Whatnot that I do a lot of business with. Do a lot of business with Chasing Blades. I get a lot of moderns from Going Gear, and I got a bunch of stickers from them because I was trying to enter a buyer's giveaway. Unfortunately, I did not win the buyer's giveaway, but I got some neat stickers in the process. Bought a knife, Don't Tell My Wife, Going Gear, and then Juice, which is something that Going Gear sometimes does when you buy a knife from Going Gear. They give you an idea of how much the knife is retail, and if the knife manages to make it above retail, say the knife goes out, say the knife is $50 retail, and the bidding goes up to like $80-$90, they juice it up and they'll throw something else nice in there. Sometimes another knife, sometimes a flashlight. A lot of times I'll tell you what they're tossing in, or it might be a complete surprise, but they'll juice it up is the way they put it. And I just think that's kind of a neat thing for them to do. The Kunwu Geezer has been your favorite slip joint these last 2 years. Very modern with fat carbon LMAX steel and deep carry pocket clip, but it's awesome. Now I have to take a look because I do not have a Kunwu. That's another manufacturer that eventually I would love to have some examples of. But the Kunwu Geezer, I like the name because traditional knives and a lot of slip joints, people kind of view them as like grandpa knives. And oh, wow. Wait, that's the Geezer? I just looked it up. That's pretty. That's also pricey. $209. I might have to hunt that down eventually. I've got some more story to tell, but gee, thanks for putting that on my radar. There it goes. Okay, that's going. Hold on. Who also carries this? Does anybody else carry that? I saw that on 209. Okay, Knife Center has that for 209. That is going on to a wish list. I love the name. The name is awesome. It fits. The reason why I wanted to talk about modern slip joints, first of all, when I started collecting many, many years ago, I started with modern knives. And when I say modern knives, it's generally modern materials, like modern synthetic materials, modern blade steels, flippers, varying locking mechanisms, things like that. Generally, sometimes people call they look tactical. Not very many with like natural materials like bone and wood, except with some exceptions. But modern folders is where I started collecting many years ago. And then within the last year or so, I started getting in traditional knives, and I started collecting a lot of traditional knives. And then I noticed that there were a lot of modern manufacturers, a lot of like Civivi, Kaiser, Ramet, and many others that I didn't realize brought out or made their own slip joint models as well. And I took a keen interest in those because I do like the modern materials, and I also like a lot of the designs on a lot of these modern knives. And we're going to go over a lot of these modern options if you're looking for something with modern steels, but want something in, more traditional in terms of like a slip joint. Zach, you don't have any modern slips yet, unless Rosecrafts are counted. Interestingly enough, I actually count Rosecrafts in that. In fact, I have a Rosecraft on the table right there. I have a couple Rosecraft. I didn't bring them all out. I should have brought them all out. I don't remember what case I put them in. I know they're in a case. There's another one. Let me move my Barlow to the side there. And another. There we go. We'll put those there. I count Rosecraft as modern slip joints, and I'll give you my reasoning. But these are a bunch of examples of modern slip joints I have. We have we have one from Ramet, and this has an interesting story to it. We've got a couple from Civivi. We got a couple from Kaiser. We have a few, my first Jack Wolf knives that I unboxed recently. And I even have a few case models as well as Rosecraft. And like I said, I define a modern slip joint because they have more modern materials like 14C28 and D2. A lot of times they'll in some cases they'll come with S35 or M390 even, but they have modern materials in their making. A lot of times they'll use also modern manufacturing techniques in comparison to like cases more traditional, and a few others. But that's how I define a modern slip joint anyway. In the case, then you have three. You've got three Clinch River Swaybacks. Nice. Do I own any Boker knives? I do not. I'm trying to remember if I do. No. I've been wanting to get a Boker knife. I don't see them. I don't come across them very often. I've been wanting to get some. Every time I look at a few and think about pulling the trigger, I end up getting distracted by something else, and then I end up getting something else. Not because I dislike Boker or anything. It's just that I have the attention span of a squirrel. There's a reason why I use the moniker EDC Squirrel. I'll look at something, be oh, that's really nice, and then something will glint and catch the light off of the corner of my eye, and the next thing you know, I've completely changed direction and I'm running towards whatever shiny I just happened to see last. You gave your dad a case Sodbuster Crossroads a couple months ago. Kind of started him in knife collecting. Nice. That Crossroads, in my opinion, are some of the more fantastic pocket carries you can get from Case because of those materials. Now, I wasn't sure where to start on some of these, but since you're talking about Case and Rosecraft, let's go with those, because when most people talk about Case, they think traditional knife, they think bone, they think, they're your typical traditional slip joint knife. Now, the reason why I consider these modern is because of the materials. Like I said before, Crossroads was their foray into using modern materials, and also some manufacturing techniques that they don't use on their other traditionals. For example, this one has Rich Light for scales, G10 liners, and S35 VN steel, which is the S35 VN steel is typical for any Case Crossroads. And the reason why I like the S35 VN steel, it's kind of like it's a modern premium steel. It's kind of like the entry into premium steels. Great corrosion resistance, very good edge retention. It's not very difficult to maintain. Keeps a really keen and sharp edge to it. And I like these because in cases where, maybe you're dropping your knife in the mud, in the water, and things like that, they hold up a lot better to corrosion resistance overall in terms of both the blade and the handle. And they retain their edge quite a bit longer than many of your standard traditional knives, which is another reason why I love the Crossroads so much. And they have them so far only in 2 patterns that I'm aware of, and that's the Barlow style that we have here. These tend to be a little bit more pricey, and then you have them in the Sodbuster Junior style. This one also happens to be a rich light version. There's a good varied amount of materials they use for the scales. You can get them in, I think it was burlap. I have a burlap micarta. I have like a denim micarta, G10. But they all come with S35 VN steel. And in very popular profiles, Sodbuster Junior and the Barlow. But I think this makes them a lot more of a harder use slip joint than their traditional knives. Don't have to sharpen them as often. And like I said, they are much more corrosion resistant than your standard models. I do love the standard traditionals that Case puts out. Otherwise, I wouldn't have so many of them in my collection. But when it comes to carrying, if I know I'm going to be dealing out, with stuff outdoors, these make absolutely awesome carries. They're workhorses. They're absolute workhorses. And another interesting thing that a lot of people didn't note, because the first thing when you see a knife like this, honestly, is the materials. That's 35 VN steel and stuff. But one thing people didn't realize, or a lot of people didn't realize, is they use, instead of pins, which is used in a lot of case construction, these actually use screws. So these can actually be a lot easier to take apart and maintain I don't see people having to do it very often, but you are capable of actually taking these apart without using any specialized tools or anything like that, and maintaining the knife in that fashion if you really need to get in there. And it's actually been handy for me, because there were some cases where the blade itself might have felt a little too tight, I guess you could say, and it was a little bit more difficult for me to open up. You could actually give that a little loosen. I had somebody say that they had a little blade play, just a tad little blade play in theirs, and they hadn't realized that these were constructed with screws. And I told them, check, see if you have something that'll fit that, give it a little tighten. And he had it fixed up in a jiffy. And he never even realized that they were screws in there. He would collected traditional knives for a very long time, and he was just used to the fact that they all had pins. And so he thought he had kind of gotten a screwy one. But yeah, these all have screws used in their construction, so they can be adjusted in that fashion, which I thought was also a really neat thing that Case did with these. An absolute awesome idea, in my opinion. And hold on a second. I kind of dropped something. There we go. Dropped something off the table there. I just had to reach for it. But I like how they have these constructed. I like the new materials. And again, probably one of the best carries, if you want to stick with Case, one of the best carries that you can have in your pocket. Now, as far as the screw size, they use Torx screws. Where did I put my set? I have that. I don't know where I put my. There it is. As far as screw size, since we're talking about that, I'm not sure what they use for these. I'd like to say these are probably 6s. So I kind of wish they were 8s, but at least they're not pins. Not that I have anything against pins, but I believe these are, I pulled out my 6. Yeah, these are 6s. Okay. So if you ever need to do any adjustment, the fact that you can do an adjustment on these is just pretty darn cool. And in some cases, you can like adjust. Like some people complain if their blade's not centered well. You can actually sometimes adjust the centering by messing with the screws at the pivot. On slip joints, I'm not overly worried too much, especially if it's just a single blade, as long as it's not hitting the side. But if that's something that kind of irks you, give that a little adjustment. It's possible you can also align that blade a little better. So that's another thing with these case crossroads that I really like. And let me move this away before I forget that that's there. You want one? Wait, which one did you want, Jeff? I thought you had like a bunch. Oh, the Boker. Are you talking about the Boker? The one you gave your dad is a burlap micarta with green. Oh, the burlap micarta. I actually do have that one. I have a lot of crossroads. They're great. You're talking about this one here. This one I've carried with me a lot. I'm pretty sure this is the one you're talking about with the neon green G10 liners. I've carried this a ton. I still do. Every now and again, this will find its way in my pocket. I have like a pile of these slips, and one of two things will usually happen when I go out the door. Either I'll just dip my hand in the pile of slips and grab one, and toss it in my pocket, or I'll go through all of them and find one that matches or coordinates with whatever else other knife I carry. Yes, I have enough knives. Can't talk. I have enough knives that sometimes I will actually actively coordinate and match the knives that I'm carrying. Which I know sounds like a completely weird thing to do, but it happens. You get a lot of different colors, and you start, hey, this doesn't really match that other knife I'm carrying. You try to find a pair, because I'm always carrying two knives. I'm always carrying a slip joint, and I'm always carrying a modern. Or in some cases, I'll even match whatever outfit. If I'm wearing a lot of black and blue, I'll carry a black and blue knife, or black or blue knife. I'm weird like that. It's just like somebody that might collect watches will match a watch to their outfit. You love it when a company does some pretty file work on the spine and slip joints and lockbacks. I like it too. I don't see them too often. And the only problem is they tend to demand a lot more when you start getting into that stuff. So I don't have too many of those. Most of the ones that I have like that are usually like custom Damascus or collaborations. I'll give an example. There's a collaboration with Chasing Blades and Texan Knives. I do have a trapper from them. This is what he's talking about, file work. Like this is on the springs. I don't have any file work on the blade itself, but it has some file work, interestingly enough, on the liners. And these are Damascus steel blades. These were a collaboration between Chasing Blades and Texan Knives. But you can see some file work on the liners there as well, which I thought was really, really cool. Now, file work on the liners I don't see very often. Usually if I see file work done, it's done on the springs like it is here, and then on the back or spine of the blades, but very rarely on the liners. You want the Optima stack? Oh my God. I think I've seen that. Yeah, that's pricey. I actually remember the term Optima. So if it's what I think it is, yeah, I remember that being... When I was looking at Boker some time ago, I remember that being like, oh my God. You have a Castillo Knives Listo that is a small lockback that has some great file work, and the bright red micarta on it just pops and looks good. I'm going to have to take a look at that one. You're going to You're going to make things hard for me, Urban, when it comes to saving cash. I need to save cash these next few weeks. You mostly carry a modern. Yeah, I mostly carry a modern folder and some type of slip joints. I very rarely carry a small fixed blade simply because I already carry quite a lot on my belt. I have a concealed carry, so a lot of times I'm carrying my firearm and a couple magazines, and then when I have a couple knives in my pocket, a flashlight, things start to weigh the belt down. I discovered suspenders, and oh my god, never in my life before have I ever thought that I would ever be wearing suspenders until I finally decided, what the hell, I'm gonna buy some suspenders, see how they are, and I never looked back. Suspenders are freaking amazing. I have a good belt, so I've never really had any problem with, like, say, my pants falling down as I'm walking around with everything that I attach to my belt. But oh my god, do suspenders make it feel so much better. Anyway, where was I? Rosecraft. Somebody mentioned Rosecraft. I consider these to be modern slip joints as well. I have 3 different models here. I wish I could remember the names. To be quite honest, I have a very bad memory. This is a Rosecraft. I can give the numbers here. This one is an RCT 033 or 033 LBM. See the blades hang there. The reason why I consider these modern slip joints, like traditionally styled modern slip joints, is because in this case, these all contain 14C28 and steel. A lot of other Rosecrafts will have D2 steel, which at one point some people don't realize, or might not realize, there was a point where D2 was considered a premium knife steel. And then it fell back with the invention of a lot of other the current modern steels, like S35VN, Magna Cut, M390, stuff like that, kind of usurping D2 at the time. But D2 was considered a modern steel at one point. But these, with the modern blade steels, I consider these to be modern, traditionally styled slip joints. I really fell in love with these Rosecrafts. Now, personally, I don't have any of the D2 versions. Not that I hate D2, I just prefer the 14C28N, because when I carry my knives, a lot of times, I don't know if I've had them get dropped and all that other stuff into either water or mud if I'm outdoors, and I just like the added security of having something that's more corrosion resistant. D2 is fine as long as you can dry it, wipe it down after every use. It definitely helps to keep it oiled or waxed. That goes a long way in keeping D2 in great shape. But D2 is not a stainless steel; it's a semi-stainless. So, but that means it's just more susceptible to corrosion than a lot of these others, like all the others. A lot of these other modern steels are. Yeah, thank you, Urban. You use some suspenders when you wear your snow pants for snowboarding, but have yet to do with any other pants. Not quite 40 yet. Stay 40. Don't get old. If you get old, make sure you keep the receipt and return the old. I don't think there's any. Personally, after I got my first suspenders, and the suspenders I have actually they're kind of unique, where they hook onto the belt. They don't have those little alligator clips that you see a lot of suspenders have. These will actually hook onto the belt. And I have a carry belt, which is really, really super stiff and thick. And these work perfect. But the amount of weight they take off the belt just makes everything so much more comfortable, that had I known it was going to be like that when I first started carrying, I would have been wearing them since the beginning. They just feel really good. They seriously feel really good. The only hassle with suspenders is obviously if you have to use the washroom and then you're having to disengage your suspenders, which I can see the alligator clips being a little easier. I don't know. Mine, I just unhook from my belt and I'm good to go. But that's really the only, in my opinion, that's really the only downside is if you have to hit the washroom really quick and then you're having to fight your suspenders a little bit. But oh my God, when you're carrying, like when I'm carrying my EDC, it consists of, I have a concealed carry, so I concealed carry a firearm, and my firearm that I carry happens to be a Walther PPQ, which is I'd say that's near. I don't know if it's just under a full size. Maybe some people might consider it a full size. I carry a magazine in there, and then I carry 2 extra magazines. And so those are attached to my belt, my firearm in a holster, 2 extra magazines. And then, I've got my wallet. I have 2 phones. I have a work phone, and then I have my personal phone. I have a modern knife. I carry a slip joint. A lot of times I'll carry a flashlight, or in that case, in this last week, that pen flashlight. And I'll carry a set of earbuds. And so that stuff, yeah. Oh, I think it's comfortable as hell, though. PPQ, I love the Walther PPQ. I'm a SIG fanboy, and I carry a Walther. Because you want to talk brick, talk P229. That's a brick. But carrying all that on your belt, I have a great belt. Yeah, but with all that on your belt, you really feel it on your hips. It might not drop down to your knees. The belt being good enough, it might keep it from dropping down on your knees, but you really feel it on your hips. And, after carrying the firearm, every added ounce just stacks and stacks up. I could not recommend suspenders more. I never thought I'd ever wear suspenders in my life. I decided to try it once, and then now I have like 3 pairs of suspenders because if I'm going out, I'm putting them on. They're a part of my outfit now. They don't generally show. I wear them under my shirts and stuff, but they're there and they help like nothing. Hey, I'm Mike Dropped. How you doing? Want to pop in and say hi? And congrats to Amy. I'll have to pop in sometime. But thanks for stopping by, even for a little bit. Yeah, the PPQ is a bit of a chunky pew-pew. And I carry two magazines. Somebody had asked me why I carry 2 magazines. And I carry technically 3. I have a magazine in my firearm, and then I carry 2 extra magazines. And somebody said, that's a lot. Why are you carrying so much ammo? And I'm like, technically it isn't. Because when you think about it, I have full trust in my Walther. My Walther has never jammed or anything. Okay. But the majority, if the majority of malfunctions when it comes to a handgun, the majority of malfunctions generally occur because there's a problem with the magazine. And I'm talking about 8 to 9 times out of 10, it's a problem with the magazine. So, practicing ejecting a magazine when your gun jams and clearing a jam, that's something that people should, in my opinion, practice a lot of, clearing a jam really fast. But the quickest way to actually get a firearm back in operating position or operating condition is generally to eject the magazine. Clear your jam, and you slap a new magazine in. So if for whatever reason, you're talking like high stress, you're talking about gross motor movement, your time is of the essence. If your firearm jams for whatever reason, that's why I carry extra magazines. Is because if my gun jams, I have another magazine to slap in there. If it's they say it's a lot of ammo, and it's like, if it's a bad day, that just might mean I only have 3 rounds, because if it jams and I have to slap a new one, and that jams and I have to slap a new one, you know, some people see it as a ton of ammo. I see it as having 2 fallbacks in case something bad happens, because I'm losing that magazine. So that's why I carry 2 extra magazines, is in case of malfunction. I hope I explained that well, because it's really weird. I'm not the best in terms of explaining shit. You've got a SIG P365, a Luger LCP2, an LCR Ruger revolver. I carry. We completely went off board. I carry my Walther PPQ most of the time. I have a Smith & Wesson Shield, both in 40. But I have a Smith & Wesson Shield that I also carry. A lot of times, I carry that one if I'm wearing shorts. If I'm in a situation where I'm wearing jeans, I'll carry my Walther, which is about like 80 to 90% of the time I'm carrying my Walther. Otherwise, if I'm wearing shorts, I'll carry my my Smith & Wesson Shield. And then I also have a Ruger, not an LCR, but it's a 2.5 inch or 3 inch barrel. I think it's a 2.5 inch barrel. SP 101. I have 2 Ruger SP 101s, one with a 4 inch barrel and one with a shorter inch barrel, SP 101, which is kind of a brick, but I'll carry that. I got my first one is a SIG P229, but that thing is a brick. I could probably carry it now that I have some suspenders, but that thing weighs more than probably the Walther and the 2 magazines combined. That's a chunk of metal, like a massive chunk of metal. Love the gun. Was my first one. Rarely carry it though. No worries. I don't always talk about it, but it's one of the. I actually, before I started the knife stream, one of my ideas is I want to start a firearm stream. But I know that with YouTube, it's a thing, and also I live in an apartment in the suburbs. I don't have my own range to pop off stuff on, and it would be insanely expensive if I were to try to do like a firearm channel. Knife channel is expensive enough as it is, but trying to do a firearm channel, especially without my own gun range and stuff, if I'm having to pay fees, all the ammo, trying to get a new gun every so often, which I still try to do, but for a channel, it tends to ramp things up a bit. I'm not rich. So I decided to go with my other hobby, which was collecting pocket knives. And that's where this channel started. And it's just because I just enjoy talking about knives and meeting people that have the same, similar interests, and just chatting and learning. And I've mentioned this many times before. I've learned more about my own hobby of pocket knife collecting when doing this channel than I ever have in the many years that I've been collecting knives. I've learned much more doing this than I ever have without it. And I'm very thankful for that. And so this is just another aspect of my hobby, is talking about these things and sharing my my collection and my interests, and meeting people that essentially do the same. So that's why I started doing this one. Otherwise, it very well could have been a very different channel. And I also would have doing this channel hasn't helped me with money either, to be quite honest. Back to the slip joints. Other examples of slip joint knives from modern makers that have actually really impressed me. I was actually really surprised by some of these. Kaiser, I've owned a lot of Kaiser modern knives, and then I noticed they came out, in this case, they have a few slip joints, or a couple models of slip joints in their lineup. What I have here are 2 trestles, and they have a couple variations of these trestles. The trestles come in modern steels. However, this particular one comes in an acid-washed Damascus steel, as you can see here. And they say a specific acid wash because it brings out some interesting colors. It might be a little hard to see on cam, but there's actually some color to that blade. Like it fluctuates from like a yellow, green, blue towards the edge, and in some of those areas, in where the I don't know what you'd call that, but in the Damascus blade, it's like a rainbow of colors in there. They do have a plain Damascus where you don't have all the colors, and like I said, it's a little harder to see on cam, but you can see a little bit of that shine, and as it kind of like reflects the light, those colors will change. You have an aluminum scale, you have a wood insert in here. I can't recall the name of the wood. I'd like to think it's Karuti wood. I think it's Karuti wood, because I know they use Karuti wood in a lot of different things. And an interesting thing about the trestle is this one does have a half stop, but their half stop isn't at a 90-degree angle to the scale. They have it open into a wider angle, as you can see there. Your traditional mid stop is usually at a 90-degree. And they do this because they feel it's safer for one-hand closing. You have a greater amount of space if you were to push that knife over to the half stop, which, like I said, they consider to be a bit safer, and then a nice snap to, closed. This one is a Damascus clip point. They also have again, this is the same model name. It's a trestle, but this particular version has a drop point blade. This one is I think it's a Nitro V. Yeah, this one's a Nitro V steel. Another modern steel that I really like. Very comparable to 14C28N. And you have I can't remember what kind of micarta they call this. Actually, do I have the box right? Yeah, I do. I don't know. Vortex micarta handle. So an aluminum scale, vortex micarta insert, drop point blade, Nitro V steel, same greater than 90-degree half stop on there. Great snap on this. And I thought these were absolutely fantastic. When I the first one I got was this here. I saw they had the drop point, had to get this. They did a really good job on these. Nice. The one thing I like about this is they have a pin. They have a stop pin in that well. I don't know if you can see it. And one cool thing about this is when the blade closes, that stop pin prevents the edge of the blade from ever slapping against the spring. And one thing I've noticed with some very inexpensive slip joint knives is if the spring isn't strong, like sometimes you'll get, this happens more often with really inexpensive or cheap slip joints. You'll get a knife with a weak spring, and if the spring is weak and you snap the knife closed, a lot of times the knife will continue and actually bounce off the spring, and then you end up with a flat spot on the edge. These have a little stop pin, and I believe the stop pin hits right in this little sharpening choil area, but that'll prevent the edge of the blade from ever slapping against the spring here, even if the spring weakens, which I don't see that really happening. But it's just another neat thing that they have, which I thought was pretty cool, to prevent that edge from ever slapping up against anything. You had the Kaiser Zip Slip that had some fun acoustics with its walk and talk, and had a different pitch when hitting each position. That's kind of cool. I might have to take a look at that zip. Urban, you're not helping me. Because now every time somebody mentions a knife that I don't have, I have to look. Kaiser Zip Slip. Let's see what that looks like. Zip Slip C. Oh, those are more premium Kaiser knives, slip joints. I say more premium. They use like the higher end stuff from the looks of it. S35 VN steel. Oh, wait, no. That's the Melody. I'm looking at the wrong one. They have the trestle. The Melody's new. That's going to be a problem. They have a new one called the Melody with S35V and steel. Compound grind. I shouldn't have looked at Kaiser's website. There's the trestles. Little Grand was another slip joint that they came out with. I haven't gotten one of those yet. That's one of the ones that I'd like to get my hands on at some point. I don't think those are slip joints. I see the trestle seems to be one of their most popular ones because they have so many versions of the trestle right now. I do not see the zip slip out. Yeah, okay, yeah. I was trying to see if I can find like a discontinued thing, but I'm not seeing it. Well, that's kind of a bummer. Or at least I don't have to worry about getting that now because it's not available. But the Melody is. I should not have looked at that. Okay. So they have a new one called the Melody, S35V and steel, compound grind. Scheiße. Crap, damn it. It's coming soon, not out yet. So I have some time. No pressure. Okay. No worries, Orban. You gotta watch some YouTubers' videos. I'll have to take a look. Other ones, Savivi was another one that surprised me with some of their slip joints. This one was not the first slip joint I got, but I believe this is one of their lesser expensive models, and I believe is still available. I really wish I could remember the name of it because it's just I have the worst memory in the world. And I had this open. I just realized I accidentally used it to. I actually accidentally changed my page. Trying to remember the name of this particular one. I don't recall this one being very. God dang it, expensive. And I had the name at one point, and now I lost it. Crap, damn it! I'm doing great today. Let's see here. That was called not the Sendy. They have a Slippy Sendy. Trailblazer. I believe that was a Trailblazer. They have an extra large version available now. This smaller version, I believe, ran for, or is this the large version? I'm pretty sure. How big is this blade? This is going at, no, this is a regular version. That goes to about 3 inches. The XL version actually goes to about 3.5 inches, about almost 3.46 inches. This is a regular version. The XL I know runs at $49.95. The Trailblazer at the time I think was running just a hair under there, making this a really affordable modern slip joint. If I remember correctly, this was 14C28 and steel on this. Stonewash blade. I believe these were G10 handles with, or aluminum scales with G10 inserts technically. And you have a reversible pocket clip on this. And if you're unable to carry a locking blade with you and looking for a really nice slip joint, inexpensive, these Trailblazers are absolutely awesome. Now, the one I'm looking at, like I said, is the XL. I could have sworn the regular Trailblazers were still available. And if the XLs are running at $49, I'm wondering how much these are going. I'm currently looking at Knife Center. These were going, whoa, really? These are going for more. $54.95 for the regular Trailblazer. What? Okay. What's the deal with the XL? Oh, I see. Okay, so the XL Trailblazers, although they do have a larger blade at just under 3.5 inches, they've got D2 steel, and the 14C28N steel is kind of an upgrade. So this version is running at just about 55. Do I use Instagram? Yeah, I haven't posted. I posted a lot, but I haven't posted recently. I do have an Instagram. I thought I had the link down below. I might have Let me see here. But I do have Instagram. I do have it Discord as well. Let me see if I've got it in, because I thought I fixed that at some point. Sometimes when I make these, the descriptions get swapped around, and I've noticed sometimes I'll be missing, like, oh yeah, my Instagram's down there. Sometimes I'll be missing a link. But my Instagram is down there. So if you want to check out my Instagram, I have a link down in the description below. I try to post pictures of my collection there now and then. It's been a little bit slow for various reasons. I'll get into some of that in a little bit. Okay, where was that? What was I looking at? There it is. So what was the other stuff on it? They have 3 different colors on this. I think black and orange and this blue. $54.95 on these, at least on, still available at Knife Center. I think these are fantastic. These things are great. Again, they're a great size, 3-inch or just under 3-inch blade, 2.97 inches. So if you're in an area that you have trouble possibly having to, possibly carrying something larger than 3 inches, this fits the bill. If you there are regulations where you live where you can't have a locking blade. Again, this one fits the bill perfectly. So if you're looking for a modern slip joint that doesn't break the bank, these Trailblazers are absolutely fantastic. Great steel on those. You do have a half stop as well. This one's more of a your standard 90-degree half stop, but has great snap. You can hear that. Great snap on that. Great walk and talk on that one. When people refer to walk and talk, they're talking about how the blade moves and snaps in its different positions, whether snapping open or snapping closed. And this one is absolutely fantastic in that regard. Civivi also has, this one is actually one of my favorites. However, I believe this might have been limited. This is a slip joint Elementum. Let me check to see if they're even still available. Let me see here. Slip joint element. Oh, no, they are still available. Okay. I could remember. Oh, no, I'm thinking of a different knife. Never mind. This one is still available. They do come in different colors as well. And you can even get one in a Damascus blade. This one in particular has a 14C28 and steel blade. And this is called their Blue Ocean. They have it in a green G10. I believe they have it in a wood handled version as well. Can't remember the name of the wood. Oh, there it is. I have no idea how to pronounce that. Gabortia? I have no idea how to pronounce it. But they have a wood handled version with a blackened blade that looks really sweet. And I see an all blacked out version. Oh, that's not G10. Green Canvas Micarta. Okay, so green Canvas Micarta scaled version. And like I said, a Damascus. Now, this one in particular, still available, runs at $59.50. The others they vary in price depending on the materials. The lowest price one is that all blacked out one with 14C28 and steel. That one starts at $51, and then they kind of go up from there, with the green micarta being $53 roughly, the wooden version being $55, this one being $59, and the most expensive version being the Damascus steel one with a twill carbon fiber scale. That one runs about $89.25. They all have a drop point blade, nice mid stop there, great walk and talk. I just thought that the Blue Ocean just looked really cool, and because of the way they make the Blue Ocean scales, no two are going to look exactly alike. You have a pocket clip. I believe that's just a stainless steel pocket clip. I don't believe these. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they're not a titanium pocket clip. That's what I was trying to figure out. I thought they had another one that had a titanium, but I was wrong. The Blue Ocean is a resin scale. Reversible pocket clip on this. You get a lanyard hole. You do have a nice half stop on this. Really, really nice blade on this one. This is a hollow grind, so a very slicey blade. And I believe these are about 2.96 inch blades. Absolutely gorgeous slip joint from Civivi. Decent pocket clip on this. I don't know if I've done individual videos on some of these. I might have to at some point. Most of my videos tend to focus on modern flippers, but I'll have to do some more videos on some of these slip joints and do a closer look at each one individually. But this I always thought was an absolutely beautiful knife. One of my first modern slip joints were these two Civivis. And you can probably see why. One, they were very inexpensive to begin with, but they look absolutely fantastic and just really great carries. The only premium, I guess you can call premium slip joint. And when I say premium, I'm talking like your top tier, I guess you consider your top tier materials like titanium, M390 steel. And also the reason why I got this sucker is because of the name. This is from Remet. This is the Remet Squirrel. This I picked up simply because of the name. This is called the Remet Squirrel. It's got, in this case, this is an oil slick titanium finish. They call it an oil slick titanium. Normally, if I wipe this down, it has a very purple look to it. But once you have it in hand, your finger, the oils on your finger change the color. Now, with it wiped down, you can see it kind of also changes a little bit as it hits the light. Kind of purplish in color, but as soon as you take hold of it, the colors kind of change. They call that an oil slick titanium. They have various different finishes. They had them in lightning strike titanium and such. And this does come with an M390 steel blade. You have a sheep's foot blade here. Brush finish. Like I said, M390 steel. Really strong spring on this one. Once this locks open, this takes a bit of... It used to be one of the strongest ones I think I had. Like, it freaked me out every time I tried to close this. But pretty nice. It doesn't lock, but pretty nice spring on that one. I love the profile on this blade. I love the sheep's foot. But I always thought this looked absolutely beautiful. And I had to get it because I was trying to snap up every knife that, or every production knife that had the name Squirrel in it. As far as I know, I have nearly every production knife that has the name Squirrel in it, with a couple exceptions. Like there was one that I forgot the manufacturer, but it was a really expensive blade and it was limited edition, and those have been sold out for years. There's another one that's a Ned Foss, kind of like a cheap fixed blade that I'm debating getting just because the name's only like $20 or so. I just never picked it up. But I've been snapping up every knife that had the name or were called either Squirrels or were associated with Squirrels. And this is actually the first Squirrel knife I have ever picked up. Was this Remet Squirrel. And I would love to get another one. I plan to get another one in the future while they're still available. These are still available. I just haven't had the chance because they are a little bit on the pricey end since it has a titanium and M390. In this case, let's see here. These are running. I'm not sure where they can be found. Let me look here. They're not a Knife Center. In fact, I'm pretty sure I got mine either from Blade City or Going Gear from Whatnot. Trying to see where they're at. Let me look at their website. I'm just going to look right at Remet's. They should still be available. Okay, I do see them. The Remet squirrels run roughly about, just a little over 100. They have, oh no, they have scenes. They have Christmas scenes. Okay. Okay. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so well, all the other ones are showing out of stock because apparently they were holding a sale. Now, the one that I have ran about 160. I think I got it for a little bit less. The Lightning Strike, the Oil Slick Titanium, the purple one that I have, and then all gray one, they run roughly about $150. Unfortunately, on Remet's website, they're all out of stock. They do have 3 Christmas versions, though. And the Christmas versions are running at about, looks like they're all 125. You have like a blue. You have like what looks like to be maybe a gold or brown scene, and then a red or orange. I should say not red. All with titanium scales, except the Christmas ones have like a Christmas snow scene on them. It looks like it says Merry Christmas with Santa on a sleigh. M390 steel. These have a just under 3-inch blade at 2.83 inches. But awesome slip joint knife if you're looking for premium blade material, just premium materials in titanium and the M390. Now, a little scary because it does have it doesn't lock, but it feels like it does. It does have a half stop, your standard like 90-degree half stop on there, and nice snap close. So great walk and talk on this one. One of my favorite things about this, aside from the premium materials, is that blade. I love the sheep's foot profile. Just makes it handy for a lot of different uses. I've actually carried this one quite a bit. I don't carry it as often. Simply because I have so many others, but I have carried this quite a bit. You do have a reversible pocket. I don't know if actually, no, wait, scratch that. This is not reversible. No, it is not reversible. I am sorry. You have a titanium pocket clip pen style, which I really like. It's not super deep carry, but I love the profile of the pocket clip. It feels really comfortable in the hand. You got some jimping on the back of the blade there, and it just feels really, really good. But that's an example of another premium slip joint. Others, somebody mentioned Jack Wolf, the Venom Jack and Titanium. I never had any Jack Wolves until these two that I'm about to show you. Because Jack Wolves tend to be pretty pricey. I think the lowest price Jack Wolf when I first started looking was like around 150, but all the ones that I really would have loved to get tend to run like over 300, around 400, close to $400. Like I really would have loved that Melissa Backwoods collaboration that she did with Jack Wolf, but those were demanding some high freaking prices. It was getting kind of crazy. However, Jack Wolf does this thing where they do this gateway model. And I missed the first few gateway models, but I did not miss this one. These are the gateway Stockmans, and I have 2 versions here. I don't know if these are still available because the gateway Stockmans tend to sell out relatively quick, and I guess they come out in a limited quantity. What I have here is, I believe this is called the Watermelon Sugar. It's a carbon fiber. Hold on a second. Yeah, Watermelon Sugar Camo Carbon, which I believe is no longer available. At least last I checked, it was no longer available. Just a really cool camo carbon color. And is also, I don't know if I can show it here because I have so many lights on. If I turn off that light. And let's see. Where's my UV light? There we go. Turn my UV light on. It is UV reactive. Actually, I turned my UV light off. There we go. It's UV reactive, so if you hit it with a UV light, it glows. Now, on camera, it might not be as well. Actually, it's showing up pretty well. It's really bright, though, off camera. I can tell you that. It's it is like glowing. It's not showing too bad on cam though, but with a naked eye, that it's really, really glowing. Something awfully bright with this UV light. So that's kind of neat. I don't have too many knives that are UV reactive. That's apparently a thing now. I mean, obviously you're not going to ever notice it unless you just happen to be using a UV light or somebody hits it with a UV light. But it's just a neat thing. Now, hold on. Let me turn this off. There we go. Really? Sometimes I have trouble remembering the commands to that light. Let me turn this light back on. Now, the thing that makes these gateways so special is they call them I believe they call them gateways because they start at a much lower price than Jack Wolf's standard knives. They have more budget-minded materials in their making. Like a lot of times, you've got premium steels in Jack Wolf knives. These are using 14C28 end steel for the blades, and I believe they also had like a blue bone. They had other materials. They actually even had an abalone version of the gateway, and these generally start at a much more affordable price than your standard Jack Wolf. Let me see here. I forgot how much I got these for because I'm an idiot. Let's see if they're still even available. Oh, actually, the watermelon sugar is available. These start at roughly about $70. And when you're talking about the regular Jack Wolf knives going for much more than that, like I said, they call them the gateway. I believe they call them the gateway because they make a great gateway to Jack Wolf knives. Lowest price one I see starts at $69, and that's for the green micarta. Again, these all have 14C28 end steel. That one starts at $69.99. The watermelon sugar camo carbon runs for about $80. Oddly enough, I don't see the others. This one is a root beer Kieranite version. I believe this ran a little less than the watermelon sugar. They call this a root beer Kieranite. You can see there. I think this looks fantastic. These are the two that I had my eye on when I first saw the gateways come out. Oddly enough, though, I don't see these available, at least not on Knife Center, so these might be a little harder to get. The root beer seemed to be really popular. They also had a blue bone version, and I'm not seeing the blue bone on Knife Center. And also, I know they had an abalone version, and I'm not seeing that either. So for whatever reason, the root beer Kieranite, the blue bone, and the abalone are missing, with this one still available and the green micarta still being available. I don't know if the others are available on other websites. Let me take a look here. Now, these are called the Gateway Stockmans. Let's see. Okay, weird. Yeah. I'm not seeing them. Let me check DLT trading. Yeah, I'm only seeing the green micarta and that watermelon sugar. So I'm guessing those others are no longer available. Huh. Kind of surprising. Usually Knife Center will still show them even when they're like sold out or no longer available. So I'm surprised that they're no longer on the website itself. But to give you more idea on these, let's take a look at the root beer. Again, 14C28 end steel. It's a single blade, so not like your typical like Case Stockman would have 3 blades. You have stainless steel bolsters, root beer, in this case, root beer Kernite inserts, single clip point blade with a half stop, 14C28 end steel. Really nice edge on these. I remember doing a video of these. I don't know if I put it up yet. I still have to edit. But these things were just super sharp right out of the box. Nicely centered in the well. And one thing about these that I failed to mention, I don't know what it is with modern slip joints, but modern slip joints tend to be some of the cleanest knives that come out of the box. I don't know if I can show that well. I don't know what it is with traditional knife making, because a lot of times, and even I love Case, before anybody thinks I'm like poo-pooing Case, I love Case knives. But even with Case knives, even brand new Case knives, I have to go in and I'll usually, and with every knife, I'll apply some oil. But with Case knives, Frost knives, Rough Rider, any of your typical traditionally made traditional knives, I still have to go in and I'll take a brush and I'm usually cleaning a bit of gunk outside, from inside the well, and removing quite a bit of gunk from in there. I don't know what it is, but I mean, Kaiser, all these modern slip joints, Jack Wolf, even Rosecraft, I've noted this on Rosecraft blades. When I get these are amazingly clean. Even the insides of these knives, Jack Wolf and Rosecraft especially, I mean, they're even polished on the inside. Might not be easy to tell. Like, we've got a nice almost mirror polish on the spring on that Rosecraft, and while maybe not at the same polish on the Jack Wolf, it's finished quite well in there. And I've run oil and I've run brushes through both of these, and maybe a tad bit, but otherwise super clean in there. And every Rosecraft, I've got a few more than what you see on the table. Every Rosecraft that I've had has been pretty similar in terms of how clean and even polished it is inside of them. The Jack Wolves were really, really good. Of the other moderns, even the Kaisers were pretty good in there. Nice and clean inside the well. Something, for some odd reason, I don't see too often in traditionally made traditional knives. I don't know why. I don't know if there's some thing that happens during the manufacturing that, it's just something they can't escape. I noticed with Case, if you look at the Crossroads, these Crossroads tend to be decent inside, although I've had to clean them out. I still, out of all these modern slip joints, the Crossroads might have been possibly the dirtiest out of the group, and that's not saying a whole lot because these didn't have much in there either. All my Crossroads have been pretty clean, even though I say they might have been the dirtiest of all the groups, but that's just saying that I found just a tad bit more than any of the others. But these are otherwise relatively clean in there as well. So I don't know what goes on where these moderns tend to be a lot cleaner than the traditional counterparts. But that's another thing with a lot of these modern knives is the finishing on these tend to be done really well, and they do a fantastic job on these. On all my Rosecraft knives, on all my actually I just realized I think this is the same model. Yeah, that is the same model. I have 3 different models. I brought 2 of the same out. Where did I put all those? Oh, there's that other one. Yeah, all my Rosecrafts have been exceptionally clean. All my modern slip joints have been exceptionally clean. Case knives tend to be the cleanest traditionals that I have, but even then, those tend to need some cleaning more often than most. The OEM Jack Wolf does their best work for them, but they are priced higher than what they really should be. That's why Ben Belkin, owner designer, doesn't mention who the OEM is. Oh, really? Their price, I don't know who does. Yeah, I remember trying to dig see who does the Jack Wolf knives, and I could never find anything on that. And I thought for a moment Jack Wolf just does his own knives, but these were my first Jack Wolf knives. I've really wanted a Jack Wolf knife. I have a set limit that I impose myself when it comes to pocket knife collecting, because for a couple of reasons. One, it's I'm not rich. I am nowhere near rich. I probably spend a lot more on knives than I should. But the other reason why I set myself a ceiling, my ceiling is I don't spend more than $300 on a pocket knife. And there's some pocket knives out there that are I would love so much that I know are priced way above that. But another reason is because if something were to happen to the knife, it's easier for me to replace. If I got myself like a $400 knife and I was carrying it around and I dropped it on concrete, somebody ran it over or kicked it into a river or something like that. If I had like a $500 or $600 knife, that's a massive ouchie. In fact, if I did have at least for me, if I did have a $500 or $600 knife, that would probably end up being a display queen. Simply because if something were to happen to it, the chance of me being able to replace it is almost, good luck. I know I've collected a lot of like limited or, knives, and stuff like that. And I'm trying to stray away from doing that because, I've got enough knives in my collection that are really display queens because you can never replace them anymore. Because they don't make them anymore, or the price gets driven up so high because they were limited editions that trying to replace it is just economically nuts. Now I know I have friends that carry. I have a friend that carries I think it was like $600 or $700 knife with him all the time, or he's got a few of them, and that's his daily user. All the more power to him. He can afford it. If something happens to it, he's got several others, and B, he'll just buy another. Unfortunately, I don't have that luxury. So yeah, I do stick under a certain price point, because I do like to use the knives that I get. I enjoy carrying the knives I get. There are knives I don't carry because they are limited or I can't replace them. I'm just trying to stray away from doing that anymore. Because it kind of sucks to be able to see a really awesome, for me, it sucks to see an awesome knife, that I have in my collection. Like it's something that I think is just absolutely beautiful, but I'm terrified of taking it out with me because if something happens, there's no way I'll be able to get it back. And I just don't like that idea. And I've got too many of those. Will I still get knives like that? Probably, because I have the willpower of a gnat. So I'll still probably be getting some now and then. I just try not to. But that's my story on that. Now there's a reason why I was going over modern slip joints today. That leads me into part of the title for today's live stream. And the reason why I was going over a lot of modern slip joints is because I have been having issues with my hand. As it says in the title, I'm diagnosed with carpal tunnel. And the thing with carpal tunnel, that it's really actually affected my knives, me and my collection here. Now, while I'm able to open these, thankfully, like these I can open without too much difficulty. I've realized on my right hand, that's why you saw the brace earlier, I actually lost a lot of strength in this hand. I'm going to give you an example. I am right-handed, okay? And I'm going to try to find a knife here I can demonstrate without difficulty. Here's my Quechua mini Griffin. I'm right-handed, and one of my favorite things to do that I've been able to do is reverse flick open a knife like this. Now, this is my left hand, and not my dominant hand. No problem whatsoever. And close that. Generally, without thought, I could do that with my right hand. I'm right-handed. One day I went from nothing wrong, and on the next day, I can't open this knife. The strength of my right hand when it comes to certain things, certain fine details, like me reverse flicking this knife, I can't do it. Where before I'd be flicking this knife open with my right hand all day without a second thought. I've completely lost the strength to be able to just even open this knife. There are some knives I still can reverse flick, only because for whatever reason they're just easier to do so. But the majority of my knives that I've never had a problem before, I can no longer open in that fashion. I have to use either rear flipper, front flipper, or use my thumb, or just in this case use the button. So I ended up going to the doctor. They had me run what's called an EMG, and what they did was they took my hand, and at various points on my hand, on my arm, they sent electrical shocks through that would, cause my fingers to move in various ways. And they were measuring essentially the nerve signal in my hand. And they used electric shock. They had to stick needles. The worst part of the EMG test is when they had to stick needles in there, because then they would take needles and they would stick them in various parts of my hand and arm, and even jabbed a needle in my neck. And the one that hurt the most was right here, because ow, they stuck a needle in here and then had me flex, certain fingers or whatever. Again, to measure the signal strength of my nerves in my hand. And after the testing, I had another visit with the doctor actually just yesterday, and they said that I have a considerable amount of irritation to the nerves. I definitely have carpal tunnel. There's carpal tunnel. I have actually three things going that they discovered. Carpal tunnel, which affects, I believe it's called the median nerve, which runs through here and affects generally these three fingers. And then I have irritation and an issue with the ulnar nerve, which generally affects these two fingers. And both of them are facing some irritation, which is causing essentially muscle weakness. Now, thankfully, I can still open a knife by other means, like gross motor movements, not a problem. I can move my hand various ways without issue, but all those fine movements, like simply just flicking a finger, I no longer have the strength. Hey, Michael, welcome to the stream. So yeah, I was diagnosed with carpal tunnel. And unfortunately, the only way, according to the doctor, the only way to really resolve my issue is I've kind of gone past the option of like steroid injections and physical therapy, because if you catch it early enough, a lot of times it could be treated with steroid injections or just plain physical therapy, and it'll clear up on its own. Unfortunately, I've passed that point, and the only way to prevent irreversible permanent nerve damage is to go through surgery. So I have surgery scheduled for later this month, and they're essentially going to cut a tendon to relieve pressure on the nerve, because there's a tendon that runs, I believe, I don't know exactly where, but there is a tendon that runs over. They call it carpal tunnel because the nerve runs through a tunnel that's created by that tendon. And essentially what they do is they cut that tendon. I guess it's just not really needed. They cut that tendon, which relieves all that pressure and then allows my nerve to kind of like recuperate. So that's been scheduled, and the hope is I'll have strength return to my hand, and I've got to get that done ASAP, because the longer it goes on, the greater the chance that that strength loss becomes permanent. So that's currently what's going on with me, and the reason why I'm mentioning this is because it's something that could very well affect my knife stream and various other things going on, obviously work and stuff like that. So I'm currently kind of been going over my head how I'm going to handle all of this, because it's going to possibly change a lot, at least for possibly a few months, because hopefully now the surgery has a great success rate in terms of recovery and stuff like that, provided it's not done too late. So I have all the reason to believe everything will get back to normal, if not better than normal, once I've had the chance to recuperate from the surgery. The thing is, the recuperation time can take months. So while it's very successful, it could take a good long while to heal, and that's why I wanted to do a focus on these slip joints, because it's a knife that I can still use relatively easily. That one low key is one of the few knives I still have the strength to reverse flick, and even then it's not easy. It takes a considerable amount of strength for me to do it, but it's one of the few that I still can do. In fact, I think it's one of two. I think this one and my Spyderco PM3 I can still reverse flick, but it actually takes quite a bit. It takes quite a bit of movement, force, and concentration to do, whereas before I never had to think about it. I would just pick it up, reverse flick, and there you go. But all the other knives that I used to be able to do that with, I can no longer do. Do my fingers feel numb too? Now I do a lot of computer work, which is where I think a lot of this stemmed from, and I also play a lot of video games, to be quite honest. And a lot of those times, it's a lot of work on the mouse and keyboard. And there were a lot of occasions where I'll be doing data entry and stuff like that, and my fingers would get all tingly and numb, and I'd have to take a break and shake them off a bit, kind of get the blood going again, and then I just go right back to work. I didn't realize exactly how much damage or irritation I was doing until that point where I suddenly lost a lot of strength in this hand. And being right-handed, that really sucks. I can't even, where's an example? Another thing, this is a chip clip, and these are great and fantastic, by the way. These are delicious. A chip clip, something I never would really, hey, chicken fried steak, something that I never really think about. Who thinks about a chip clip? You just open and you go, and then you have yourself a nice little treat. You open the chip clip and you snap it shut. Big whoop. Never really had to give it a second thought. I went to go grab, I'll grab a bag of chips, wanted a little snack. I go to open this, and I'm sitting here struggling because I could not squeeze this closed. Or I squeeze it open, I mean. It's crazy. I have to, I'm doing this in a way that I never had to try. It's a considerable task to do that. Whereas now my left hand is not affected. You know, where before I was just able, I want something to snack on. You know, and you know, using chopsticks, another thing. Like I like to use chopsticks now and then when I'm eating food, depending on what I'm eating, and I can't manipulate chopsticks. It got really kind of scary. And that's when I realized, and then I had vacation this week. I took the week off because of my birthday. So I took this week off, or this last week off, and this last week has been filled with doctor visits because it freaked me out. Because usually, you know, you get numbness in the fingers, and you're 46. I just turned 53. Your wife had to get surgery on both hands. Yeah, my left hand is fine for now, as far as I know, because I do have an issue with my neck, and I guess one of their fears is that my neck could affect my left hand, but my left hand's fine. It's just my right hand's having issue. But if you're getting numbness in your fingers, if you're getting, you know, if you're doing a lot of stuff with your fingers, you're getting numbness, you're getting the, you know, the little pins and needles feeling, and it's happening more and more often. As much as having an EMG test done kind of sucks. Like I'll tell you right now, it's not fun. The shocking bit was fun. I mean, you can shock my arm, you know, 100 times. It made me giggle inside, but the needle part sucked. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Thankfully, it's not very long. It's not a very long test, but the needle part did suck. But I strongly suggest doing it. I strongly suggest, if you're getting that numbness, you're getting the tingly feeling in your hand, especially if you're doing a lot of computer work and stuff like that, get it checked. No, I was joking, Morgan. I really suggest getting it checked because this did freak me the hell out. And now I'm at the point where, like, I don't have any other option other than surgery. So, as a knife collector and video gamer, do yourself a favor, get it checked if it's happening very often, because once you have permanent nerve damage, and this can cause permanent nerve damage, there's nothing they can do to fix it. So if I had permanently damaged my nerves, surgery is not going to do anything. Essentially, what the surgery is for is to prevent permanent damage from happening. I want to have the surgery done so that way I can regain strength and prevent myself from losing it in the future. A lot of that stuff is kind of time sensitive. It's time sensitive. Like I said, once the damage is really done, no amount of surgery is really going to help. So, yeah, if you get that tingliness, if you have that weakness like I did in there, the numbness in your fingers, go get that checked. And a lot of times there could be other factors. Like I said, I have carpal tunnel. I was diagnosed with carpal tunnel. There's a issue with my ulnar nerve that's related. So hopefully this fixes everything with the ulnar nerve and the median nerve, which is carpal tunnel. And then I also have a neck issue, which they found out, which they are concerned because they're worried that the issue could stem from the neck thing. But they're in the belief that the surgery should be all I need to get things back to back to normal. Numbness in fingers, is that neuropathy? Like same from diabetes? I know the numbness in the fingers. It's neuropathy. I don't know if I couldn't really say anything about diabetes because I don't have it, and that really wasn't mentioned to me. Usually, I thought the diabetes thing didn't that was that usually with the feet? I'm not saying that it couldn't happen with the hands, but usually more often I hear that as being an issue with the feet. numbness in the feet. Like a lot of people end up losing their foot because they don't feel, they don't realize they have like a wound in their foot and gets infected or something like that. Anyway, I don't know. But I guess the reason why I'm sharing this really is because one, it's going to affect my channels. It's going to affect my knife channel. Like things have slowed down mainly because of money already to begin with. But the surgery is going to put some added financial strain because I haven't paid my deductible off completely. In fact, I've barely paid into my deductible this year. So because of that, the surgery itself is going to be really expensive, which is crazy because the doctor told me if my deductible was paid off, the surgery would be free. I'm like, crap, really? Because my deductible isn't paid off, obviously I have to pay my deductible, and there's still probably going to be some on top of that, which is going to end up costing me. So that's going to put financial strain on me in that regard. So in regards to like the knife channel, I'm going to have to get a little bit more creative if I want to keep doing stuff on the knife channel. I want to keep this going because it's just something that I enjoy doing. And I have a video game channel. And, going through the surgery, I know there's going to be a long time of recovery, which is going to prevent me from doing a lot more. I'm also a caregiver where I handle all the cooking. I do all the cleaning. I do, laundry. I do everything. And I know that's going to be putting some strain on that because there's going to be a lot of the duties that I normally do that's going to be very difficult to do while I'm recovering from this. And I'm emphasizing this not only because I know it's going to affect my channels. So those people that do enjoy the channels and do enjoy watching my content, be prepared. Things are going to be slowing down considerably. The other thing is I'm making a point of this because this came as a big surprise to me. And I know a lot of people, myself included, have a tendency to be like, oh, this feels kind of weird. Oh, it feels better now. I'm not going to, there's nothing to worry about. Whereas had I given it more thought, had I looked into it earlier, this could have been something that would have been preventable, maybe with just some steroid injections and some physical therapy, and the surgery might not have been needed. So I'm making a point of this to let others know that if you are running into issues like, pins and needles in their fingers, numbness in your fingers, and it's happening more and more often, go get checked out. If anything, at the very least, you might be able to avoid like surgery and maybe some shots, and you're good to go. And definitely to prevent permanent nerve damage from happening if you wait too long to have it checked. Kind of like I did. Like when I got my test back, he was like, yeah, the only thing he could suggest would be surgery. And I asked about like, therapy and stuff like that. I mean, you might get a little bit back, but the point at what, like, my reaction time on my nerves has slowed down. Look, I'm not judging Maury. The reaction time on my nerves has slowed down, which is, one of the things that they measured was reaction time, how long it took for signals to go through, as well as the strength of those signals. And kind of like just a public service announcement, I guess, get that shit checked before it gets worse and before it gets to a point where you can't do anything about it anymore. Because this weakness thing sucks. Like one of the things that I enjoy doing, just like flicking open certain things or opening a bag of freaking chips or using chopsticks, I can't do anymore. I'm really hoping I can do that again, once I recover from the surgery. And there's, like I said, the surgery recovery is going to take a long time. They say anywhere between 3 to 6 months before I have before it's considered fully, full recovery, and I have possibly full use of my hands. So, get that checked. And as much as the EMG sucks, it's not a long test. It doesn't take very long. So a few moments of getting stuck with a needle, versus possibly, permanent damage to the nerves on your wrist, definitely worth it. Getting under better control now. Obviously, there isn't a cure for it, but good to hear that things are getting a little bit under better control. I'm not. Thankfully, I've been borderline in regards to diabetes, but I've managed to stave it off so far. Barely managed to stave it off so far. Hopefully I can continue to do so. It's not easy when I've got a girlfriend that surrounds me with like sweet candies. She apparently can eat like a bag of sugar and never have to worry about diabetes. I don't know. It's her system. Her system handles it a lot better than mine will. I look at a bag of sugar and my body starts doing weird shit. But yeah, that's where we're at with that. I just wanted to mention that because of all the things that it could be affecting in terms of my channel. It's also, for those that have been experiencing the tinglies or the numbness, go get it checked. Seriously, you'll thank yourself. You'll thank yourself in the long run if you get it checked, because you could very well be avoiding a bullet, like permanent nerve damage in your hand. It's not fun. But that's one of the reasons why I was focusing on these slip joints, is because it's one of the ones that if it got worse, even slip joints might become an issue at some point. Thankfully, like, my pinching ability has weakened, but oddly enough, I can still open a slip joint. And even these Rosecrafts have some ridiculously strong springs. This one in particular is kind of crazy. Like, when I first got this, I was like, holy crap, I can barely get this sucker open. Thankfully, I can still open these guys up. I was worried that I was going to have trouble with every knife that I had. But thankfully, these aren't too much of a problem. Even these Rosecraft ones, which are crazy tough to open. Oh, thanks, Chicken Fry. It's one of the reasons why. That's another one of the reasons why I like holding these streams. One, I enjoy doing the knife channel because, again, it's sharing a hobby that I enjoy doing and meeting other people that have a very similar, that have a similar hobby and similar interests. Because being a caregiver, most of my time is spent at home. I don't have much of a social life. Thankfully, I still have friends that intend to kidnap me every once in a while for to meet for lunch and stuff like that. In fact, I think they're planning a kidnapping again soon for a lunch. But most of my social interaction, to be quite honest, happens during these lives, because I'm home most of the time, and I've got a girlfriend, thankfully, that understands that I need to mentally kind of get away from everything and just do a hobby. In this case, for this channel, I do knives. I also have a channel that I stream nightly, which is just video gaming. I think I have a link to that down below, called Durana's Game Cave, and it's like just a few hours every night to kind of let loose, kind of like decompress, and rejuvenate, which I think is very important for people to have at least a little time to be able to do. Otherwise, I mean, everything gets just sort of builds up until the point of where sooner or later something's going to break down. And if I'm going, one thing that it sounds selfish when you say it, but when it comes to caregiving, you need to know that in order to be a good caregiver, you need to take care of yourself first. That's one of the reasons why. Like a good example of that is whenever they go through those safety briefings on airplanes. When they talk about how they get in a situation where maybe the oxygen masks drop down from the roof in the cabin, they always tell you to put your mask on first, because that way you're situated and then you can help as many people as you want, because you don't have to worry about yourself running out of oxygen. And it's the same way in a lot of situations. And I think a lot of people tend to forget that. I know a long time ago when I was much younger, that's not something that I had in my mindset. I have a weird like caretaker kind of mentality. And before really giving it thought, I was that, and I know a few people like this. They have this mentality where they just want to help, they want to do everything, but they put themselves second, and they keep giving and doing and giving and doing, and then pretty soon they've given everything, given their all, and they've got nothing left in their self, that they end up spiraling. And it can take various forms, but regardless, what ends up happening is they end up kind of self-destructing. Okay. And they're no longer of any help to anybody else, and in a lot of cases they end up needing all the help at that point. So having these live streams, doing this stuff, is something that I do to decompress, that I enjoy doing. Playing the video games every night, it helps me get out some frustration. It helps me socialize, because again, I'm home most all the time. Most of my socialization is people in chat like you guys. Hey, Brushcraft, thanks for coming by. Most of my socialization is guys in chat like you, just talking to me as I'm playing a video game. I'm not kidding when I play video games, that playing video games is 100 times, if not 1,000 times more fun when I've got people in chat chatting with me, even distracting me to the point of where I keep dying in a video game. I don't care. I'm glad you guys are there. And same with the knife channel. You guys chatting with me, sharing an interest in these pocket knives, giving me, like I said before, I learned so much more from you guys simply chatting in my channel than I ever have collecting knives on my own. Various steels. I never got into traditional knives until I really started this channel, and I started getting heavily traditional knives. Different steels. There's a lot of manufacturers I never would have considered, never would have thought of, never would have seen if it weren't for you guys. Granted, there was also a lot of money I probably would not have spent. but I mean, collecting knives, that kind of comes with the territory. So yeah. A lot of this stuff is decompression for me. Yeah, thank you, Brushcraft. Triage is a real thing. You can't help anyone else if you're not in the game. Exactly. And thanks, Jeff Gage. Enjoy chatting with you too. You're awesome. Your wife has been helping you deal with it for 6 years now. Honestly, don't know how she does it. And because I've seen I've talked to other caregivers, and it's amazing how many people who end up becoming a caregiver. Like, I'm a caregiver for my girlfriend. She's unfortunately disabled. There's a lot of constant pain. Luckily, she knows and allows me to, gives me time to do all these decompressions without, tries not to bother me for the times that I am doing doing these lives. Sometimes it can't be helped. That's what, that's the way it is. But she's not at the point where she needs like near constant assistance. But there's a lot of stuff she can no longer do that I end up having to handle, daily tasks and stuff, and that's why I'm here. Well, I just ignore you now. You're too far away from a kidnapping. Oh, I missed that. Morgan. I'm kind of glad for that. Because I have a feeling you'd be kidnapping me a little bit more than most people would, and probably for not all the these reasons. Oh God, Zach just came right away from me now that it's a slow 15-year process. Just always progress. Oh, so hang on a second. Okay, sorry about that. I thought I heard her calling. She was yelling at the TV. No, I know you would kidnap me near constantly, which could be kind of frightening. Knowing you. But yeah, bottom line, take care of yourself. Don't let things like, the tingly fingers and the numbness, those are signals of your body telling you something's goofy is going on. Don't do like I did and wait until you suddenly get freaked out and can no longer open a bag of chips or use chopsticks or even just flick open one of your favorite knives. Because it's a scary feeling when that night that I first picked up a knife and realized, why is my hand not working? Like one of my favorite knives. I can't flick this open. And this is a knife that I carried a lot. This is a Spyderco Sage 5. Now, yeah, sure, I can still open it using my thumb. But even closing this takes a little bit more effort than where before it's just like, I can just flick it open, close it, and I'd fidget with this knife. This is one of those knives that I would just, flick, close, while I'm doing something else. It's a fidgety knife. I can't even open this using my middle finger anymore. I can't Spidey flick this like I used to. And even closing it with a compression lock, which I really love the compression lock. The compression lock is a great freaking lock. It takes me a lot more effort to pinch that closed. There we go. And hopefully not cut myself in the process. A knife that I've carried a ton. And the funny thing is, left-handed, I can still, not a problem. Now, well, closing it's a little different because the way a compression lock works, but this whole the funny thing is that it's not, the irritation can come from various different sources, and I think I've determined a majority of where it is, and a lot of it has to do with my mouse use and keyboard use, because I do an insane amount of data input for work. I do an insane amount of data input for work. So I spend a good, and this is outside of just video, and then I would play video games at night. So I was on my mouse and keyboard for a good portion of the day. And then, throughout work, if I needed to do any searches, and even if I wasn't doing data input, I'm still using my mouse keyboard pretty much the majority of the day. And then, when I'd relax, it was video gaming more often than not with the mouse keyboard. And I think that's where I ran into issues, because I'm also since I have a wheel set up, since I got into like racing wheels and stuff semi recently, I also know that I'm using my mouse keyboard in a fairly awkward position. I've been doing that since I got the wheel, and I think all the years of just data input and then having an awkward position these last few months has done a number on my wrist. And because even with the knife flicking, it wasn't something that I did actually all that often. Most of the times if I start fidgeting with a knife, it was usually when I had just gotten a knife, and just like anybody else, you're going to play with that knife for a good long while. And I'm doing a video, or if I'm doing one of these live streams. So the knife flicking was actually very, I don't think had a whole lot to do. It was majorly due to the whole keyboard mouse thing. One of the reasons why the last games that I've been playing has been with a controller, because it's a different move set. You know, I'm using my hand in a different way than I normally would for gaming, because I haven't used a controller in a good long time until recently. But that's another thing. Spyderco is pretty left-hand. Yeah, Spyderco is pretty left-hand friendly. With in my personal opinion, with exception to like the compression lock. The compression lock can still be used left-handed. Obviously, I just did it. It just takes a little bit more. I just don't think it's as intuitive. I guess if you're left-handed, and I'm not left-handed, I guess if you were left-handed, it would be a little easier. You're just used to manipulating things a lot more with your left hand. So, I mean, maybe it's just because I'm a right-handed person, it's awkward with my left hand. But a lot of Spydercos also have lock. You know, they're also lock back, or the Sage 6 now has a button for the compression lock. Yeah, they're pretty left-hand friendly. I don't think they're too difficult. It's coming from a right-handed guy. Somebody applying for affiliate with Red Dragon Peripheral. Oh, I thought you were applying for an affiliate with Red Dragon Peripherals. I thought that was you, Mike. Yeah, I think somebody left-handed has an advantage over me because I'm right-handed. But as you saw, I mean, I still was able to manipulate it with my left hand. It just takes a lot more. Whoops. It takes me a lot more thought. Like, I have to give it more conscious thought. It's not like automatic. If I were using my right hand, it's a normal, I shouldn't say normal. It's a more of an automatic movement for me, I guess. I don't have to think about it as much, except now because of the muscle weakness. That was a lot easier than I thought with the left hand. So yeah, you have something going there. But yeah, I thought that was you, Mike. I thought you were going for an affiliate with Red Dragon. That's the other thing I might have to do, is I might have to look at other mice, which is kind of a shame because I have a very specific mice for very specific reasons, and I thought it was really cool. And having to get another mice is going to cut out a lot of those things. They say a vertical mouse is supposed to be great for when it comes to carpal tunnel. Unfortunately, again, it's one of those things that I kind of am too late for. But probably might not be a bad thing to try and use in the future, or at least leading up to the surgery. I don't know if it's because my surgery is supposed to be on the 26th of this month. So thankfully, I'm glad I'm getting it as soon as it is. I mean, personally, preferably, I'd like it sooner, because it does kind of creep me out that, I don't want to have permanent nerve damage in my hand. I want to be able to recuperate and regain the strength in my hand, because having a permanent weakness like this in my hand would really, really suck. So I'm glad I got it as soon as the 26th, because when he first mentioned the surgery, he's like, we could probably set something up at the end of September. And I was like, oh shit. And he said, and then he went to go look, he said, we do have an opening. And I was like, yeah, take it. I don't want to hesitate. In fact, I hope they call me and let me know that something earlier opens up. I still got to take the day off from work, just so they know. And I've still got to explain this to work, because I don't know. Again, I'm not going to really be able. I could like chicken peck with my left hand, if I need to do any work. But a lot of the stuff that I do with, like, for example, I handle a lot of invoices in the morning, isn't even really typing. A lot of it is moving and clicking the mouse. I'm carrying information over. I'm not really entering data via keyboard. I'm copy pasting a lot of data, which means a lot of mouse movement. Thankfully, I can actually use a mouse left-handed, so that's one thing. I've been working in IT for years, to the point of I used to work on two computers at the same time. I'd have like two monitors left and right, and I'd use one mouse for one computer over there, and I have a mouse in my left hand and I have a mouse in my right hand for the computer that was me sitting over there, and I just work back and forth, so I can use a mouse with my left hand. That's not a problem. It's just I'd have to shift a lot of stuff around. But it's still gonna slow things down considerably. So I still have to deal with that in work. And I don't even know what kind of surgery they're going to do, because there's two types of surgery they do. This is where we're going to get graphic. From what I didn't ask because I didn't know about this until later. But there's two types of surgery that they do. One, the first type is what they do is they do an incision, okay, and then they visually observe the tendon that they need to cut, and then they just cut that tendon and then they seal you up. Now that version of surgery, and they're all outpatient surgeries. That version of surgery, unfortunately, also takes the longest recovery time, I guess, because of the amount of the incision and such. The other surgery they do requires a smaller incision, but they use an endoscope with a camera because they can't visually see the nerve. They put the endoscope in, and they see it with a camera, and then they cut the tendon that way. Now the cons to now, while that one supposedly will have a lot less recovery time, the problem with that type of procedure is you have to have a doctor that is, first of all, good with that, an expert at that equipment, because it's more specialized equipment. And also, there's a slim chance that they might not cut through the nerve, cut through the tendon in its entirety. And if they don't do that, they'll have to eventually go back in to complete the cut if they realize they didn't cut it in its entirety. Pro being it'll heal faster. So I don't know which one they intend on doing. So that could also change things and how long it takes me to recoup. But either way, it's going to affect my streams in the future, which is initially what I was getting at. It's going to affect my streams in the future, so I don't know how I'm going to handle with the knife channel, because obviously things have slowed down just because of finances. But with the surgery being as expensive as it's going to be, and also the recovery time, things will probably slow down considerably in here, as well as in the gaming channel. I'm trying to figure out other things that I can do just in order to keep things going, because I don't want to lose this channel. I don't want to stop doing stuff for this channel. Like I said, it's decompression for me. It's a mental health thing, but it's just a lot of stuff that I have to think about, consider, and possibly change until I fully recuperate. But this way, nobody's like caught by surprise and wondering why I suddenly disappeared if I have to disappear for a little while. But other than that, that's pretty much it. All I can say is, if you got numbness in your fingers, if you got tingling in your fingers, and it happens quite often, go get it checked. Don't wait. Don't be like me. Learn from my mistakes, and hopefully you could actually avoid surgery and Maybe just have some steroid shots and some therapy, and you're good to go, and you'll be fine. Don't wait too long, and you won't have to worry about, hopefully won't have to worry about like surgical remedies for that stuff. Other than that, that was just me sharing some of my collection, sharing some modern slip joints, showing some of the options available. My favorites being those Case Crossroads, Rosecraft, great knife, especially for the cost, and they've been absolutely fantastic. Just be aware they are. It's not a bad thing. I make it sound bad, but they're the knives that Rosecraft makes do come in generally two different flavors, which are D2 and 14C28, and I think they have a couple other steels, but I know the more recent ones tend to be 14C28N and D2 steel. So things to consider are, do you favor edge retention, or do you favor like corrosion resistance and ease of maintenance? Because that'll go into your consideration for buying if you're looking at Rosecraft. When it comes to Gateway knives from Jack Wolf, the options on Gateway knives are dwindling. So if you're looking to get a Jack Wolf Gateway Stockman, grab one now before they disappear, because like I said, at least on Knife Center, I'm only showing the watermelon sugar camo carbon and the green micarta Gateway Stockman being available. So if you're looking for something like the Gateway Stockman here, go grab them now. Otherwise, you have a variety of options from other manufacturers, like Kaiser has some fantastic options, my favorite being the Trestle. In fact, they have a new one called the Melody coming out. I don't know when the release date for the Melody is, but it looked like a really interesting knife on their website. Now, depending on the materials, they can vary widely. Like the Melody I saw is going to be running I think around like $130 or roughly around there. The Trestles come in a wide price range. So anywhere from, I think, around like 60 or $70 all the way up to like $150, depending on the materials that you're looking at. If you want to stick to the budget range, Savivi has some really nice options. My favorite being the slip joint Elementum, and these come in a few different colors. The Trailblazer is not bad as well. They have a larger version of the Trailblazer, which is actually a little bit less, although with D2 steel. That's some great budget options if you're looking for modern slip joints. And there's a lot of premium options out there available. My only premium one being the Squirrel from Romet. I know somebody mentioned Kunwu, just over $100. Really pretty slip joint from them. I think it was called the Geezer from Kunwu, which I kind of really want right now because it's very pretty. And it's a little bigger on the knife blade than I normally get. I try to stick around 3 inches or less because of the regulations in my state. But being a slip joint, I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue. But at $209, that would probably be the most premium. Oh, no, it wouldn't be. I was about to say that's the most expensive slip joint that would have been in my collection. But no, I just remembered I have a couple case knives that are in excess of $200. So, but as far as modern slip joints, that is an absolutely gorgeous one. The Geezer. I also love the name. Kunwu Knives Geezer. I already added it to my wish list, so it's in there. Don't know when I'll be able to get it because of the surgery coming up, but the target's on it at some point. Oh, you better believe if the surgery ends up being less or I pay off that surgery, I'm going to be coming back on these knives with a vengeance. Good grief, because I'm going to be going through withdrawals, not being able to really pick up a whole lot. I've got a couple knives coming in next week. And so I do intend on doing a live stream showing off some new knives for the upcoming week. But that's probably going to be the last batch of new knives I get for a while. So a lot of the stuff that I'll be concentrating on are just talking about various different types of knives, and so certain knives I have in my collection, things like that, kind of like what I'm doing today with some of the modern slip joints and recommendations I can give for slip joints like this. If you're looking for something with modern materials but like the traditional look or traditional slip joint. But other than that, just opening it up to questions that people might have on my collection. Now, this isn't a modern slip joint. This is just what I got. The one knife that I got this week, that came in this week, which is the mahogany bone Barlow from Case. If you got any questions for anything that I have on the table here, or if you have any questions about what I have in my collection, or just knife questions in general, or even just EDC questions in general, ask away. This is where I just open it up and we chat about the hobby or anything new going on in the hobby, any new knives that have come across anybody's table or looking to get, because this is also how I learn about a lot of the new stuff out there, is watching YouTube videos and also chatting with you guys. Like that geezer, for example. Oh my God, I need water. What did I do with my water? Grab that real quick. Oh, I still have this box from Morgan. Morgan sent me snacks for my birthday. And I'm pretty sure her and my girlfriend are trying to kill me with diabetes. Actually, I should open this box up now because I want to know what's in there. It's a big but light box. Are these chips? Did you send me chips? Because if you sent me chips, these are not going to last very long. When it comes to snacks, I like savory stuff. And she knows that. Even though she sent me like graham cracker goldfish, which I've been eating constantly, trying not to go completely ape shit on. I'm trying to open this carefully also because I have no idea what's in here. Oh my God. Morgan. Oh no, you didn't. Or first of all, this is what I first saw. Lesser Evil popcorn. This went from a knife channel to a snack channel. This is what I first saw in the box. Garlic Parmesan and the Himalayan pink salt. Thank you, Morgan. That was awesome. Really appreciated. And then this is the next thing I saw was this. Oh my God. Bacon peanut brittle? This is a thing? A family recipe. Hold on. A family recipe since 1860s. John Spalding loves brittle. His family's been making it for over 150 years. John couldn't only find cheap peanut brittle with hardly any nuts. Refused to make it because it wasn't Christmas. But bacon? I mean, I'm not complaining. You know me. Bacon. Nashville, Tennessee. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to open this up now. I'll probably wait till the video game stream. Because I tend to snack when I'm video gaming. I don't even know what I'm going to play tonight. Because I'm trying to find something a little low key. So that way I'm not like, doing a bunch of stuff with the mouse keyboard. And I know I've been playing a lot of games with a controller. So I'm kind of trying to think of something that I can do. Maybe I'll do some racing. It's been a while since I've been in the racing game. And that, I just need my wheel. Oh, thank you for the popcorn and the bacon brittle. I didn't know they made anything like that. I was going to say, this is how I get fat, but the popcorn shouldn't be so bad. Saw it had to. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for that. That's awesome. And for those wondering what I had a knife in my hand. That was this. This is probably one of the knives I probably use more often than anything at home. Is the I forgot what they call this. This is a Kaiser Drop Bear utility knife. And I have the tooled version where you have to unscrew it, because I know they have a toolless version, but I'm weird. When they say toolless versions, and this is not just Kaiser, this is any toolless knife, I tend to worry that the blade's going to go flying off somewhere. So I actually prefer the version that you need to use a tool to secure the blade in. But this knife actually has probably seen more use than any other knife at home, because it's just... I don't have to really worry about sharpening it. I just replace the blade. I'm good to go. And they're sharp as hell. And it's got a nice fidgety form factor to it. I mean, it's like any other drop blade or drop bear that Kaiser makes. But really cool one. If you're looking for a more fancy utility knife, highly recommend that Kaiser drop bear utility. Also, Civivi makes one that's very similar that works really well as well. I don't have that one. I only have the Kaiser. I was thinking about picking up the Civivi, but the Kaiser's I've been doing a lot of work with the Kaiser, so what's the point of grabbing another one? Elizabeth killed you twice, but wait. Oh, you're playing Pal World. It's popped in coconut oil, so there's a slight sweetness to it. That's interesting. A slight sweetness to the garlic parmesan, and we have Himalayan pink. Screw it. I'm opening the Himalayan pink salt. I have a chip clip around here somewhere. No, that's the one that I had in my crap. Thought I had another one. You know the snacking is bad when you have random clip chips just sitting at your desk. I'm opening the Himalayan pink salt one. And in case you know what it looks like, popcorn. I'm going to try this. This suddenly turned into an ASMR channel. Oh, it's slight. I thought it'd be saltier, but it's not. I mean, you can taste it. It does have a slightly sweeter. Yeah, I can. It's like, you're right. There's like a slightly like coconutty. Not very strong. I mean, like, if you hadn't mentioned it, I'd be sitting here thinking about it for a while, trying to figure out where it was coming from. Oh, that's good. That's really good. That is not going to last. I also need more water. The Himalayan pink salt is your fave. That's really good, though. I mean, it's light. It's not too salty. I probably could have done with a little bit more salt, though. But it's not bad. It's actually pretty good. I like it. Minimally processed premium quality with the original extra virgin coconut oil. Oh, so the coconut oil is virgin. I have no idea what that means. I just made a point because it said it on the bag. You bought it from Brody because it's less processed? I don't understand how they could process I mean, it's popcorn. I mean, you pop it, and you drizzle whatever on it. I'm just trying to figure out, like, I mean, how processed can popcorn? I mean, I know there's a lot of processed snacks out there, but popcorn is one of those where it's like, I don't know how they can process it anymore. Oh, have a good one, Jeff. Thanks for coming by, and thank you again so much. I'll let you know as soon as I get it. And you stay safe out there. You have a great weekend. I'm just sitting here munching on popcorn now. It's turned into a popcorn ASMR channel. Morgan, you realize, like, most of our food is GMO. Nobody realizes it. But Yeah, at least, I mean, the oil's good. The coconut oil. That's good. That's really tasty. I have a new snack because I like savory, and the hard part with savory snacks, they tend to be like, you know, obviously higher in calories and all that stuff. And usually when I go, you know, a lot of the popcorn that I see, with some exceptions, tend to be like heavily buttered or whatever. And I just hate plain popcorn. So this has a decent taste. It's not fried in like motor oil. It's not overly done with the salt. I mean, I feel like it could use a little bit more, but it's not overly done, which is nice. Yeah, I dig it. I have a new snack. I also have a need for a chip clip. I thought I had another chip clip around here. I was wrong. Let's close that off. I'll just clip it with everything else. I'll open the others later tonight and maybe try the. God dang it! I forgot I can't open this with my hand. I'll try the others tonight, maybe during the game. I want to try that freaking bacon brittle just because bacon. Oh my god. Kenny's not a fan of popcorn, but he likes that. I can see that. Because I'll be honest, I'm not that big of a fan of popcorn either. I would have it on occasion, but it's not like something that I would seek out. You know, if somebody said, excuse me, somebody said snacks, popcorn generally would never be really on my mind as a choice. Like every once in a blue moon, maybe. That popcorn I would seek out. That popcorn I'd be like, yeah, I need a bag or two. That's pretty good. I haven't tried the Parmesan yet. I'll have to try that later. Right now I've got popcorn stuff. I don't know what you call it. Trying to clear from my throat. Where'd my water go? I had my water here a second ago. Thank you again for that. That's awesome. I need to refill my water though. Nice. All right. So any questions on the knives? Any questions on my collection? Or just talk about knives in general? Let me know. Otherwise, yeah, you covered sweet and savory. Thank you so much. That bacon brittle definitely covers the sweet and savory part. But if anybody's got some questions, anybody got stuff they'd like to talk about, knives in general or anything that I got on my table, let me know. This is where I have it opened up. Otherwise, it's possible we may end this one a little early. Just to give my hand a rest and also probably eat more popcorn. But I'm saying I know there's still a lot of stuff I've got to deal with this week because, like I said, with having the surgery stuff in the back of my mind, I'm trying to think of things that I need to get taken care of and done before then. I know I still have quite a bit of time. I mean, it's a 26. I still got a couple weeks, and then it's not like it's tomorrow. But you always start thinking about like stuff that you need to get done and taken care of because you know that once the surgery is done, there's going to be a lot that I'm not going to be able to do for a little while. So I know there's a lot of stuff on my mind of things that I need to complete doing that I've either been putting off to the side or need to do early so I don't have to worry about it later. I keep complaining I forgot to get game snacks. I actually have been trying to refrain from buying a lot of snacks. I mean, I still have to because I need something to munch on now and then. But a lot of times, my own willpower wise, I know the snacks that I tend to gravitate towards, especially with even the, because I look for savory and not sweet, aren't the healthiest. So I try to make a conscious decision not to get them all the time. I still like to treat myself now and then, but like, the pork rind. I love pork rinds. I know I can annihilate a large bag of those within like a day. So I try not to buy too many of those because, if I buy a couple bags, they're gone. And I've been doing pretty good. I've been doing surprisingly good with the weight. In fact, I think I lost another pound or two since I last saw my doctor. So that was a good thing. And my blood pressure, because I'm on blood pressure medication. I suffer from high blood pressure, but my blood pressure has been freaking fantastic for a bit now. I think this last visit I was like at 122 over like 70 something. So fantastic compared to what it used to be. Oh, believe me, like my blood pressure before the medication, the way it used to be, holy crap, you'd be surprised I was still alive. You've been on a Svenhard's breakfast claw kick. Svenhard's breakfast claw. What is that? Okay, I'm going to look. This is the first. Oh my God, chicken fried. If you get me into something that's not even knife related, I end up buying. What the hell is wrong with you? And what's the special power you have to make people buy shit? Svenhard's breakfast claw. That just sounds interesting. What the hell is a Svenhard's breakfast claw? You'd be asleep if you were that low. Oh, they have it on Amazon. Well, time to look and see what that's all about. What the hell is oh my God. They have a variety pack. That's that's like what do you call those? What is that? It's a pastry covered in gooey goodness. And they have a variety. Oh my God, the variety pack is like what, $35? But what do you get in here? It's a Danishes. They're like cheese Danishes. But you get a 30 count individually packed for $35. Breakfast claw, berry horn, cinnamon horn. What's with the claws and horns? Cheese horn and a raisinette. They all look really good. Damn it, Bobby. I mean, chicken fried. Crap. They sell local. Central. Oh, you're in Central Cali. You're not in the ones with fruit. Breakfast claw is your go-to. Okay, well, they have the breakfast claw. What's in the breakfast claw? I can't tell in their photo. They don't really say. Let me see if I can find one that just says breakfast claw. We've gone from talking about pocket knives to talking about pretty much everything the frick else. Breakfast claw pastries. They have them at Walmart. What's in a breakfast claw? Filled with sweet almond filling, glazed with light frosting. Oh, it's kind of like an almond thing. I'm down with that. I like almonds. Wait, how many is in this? And this one's $6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So essentially a buck a claw. Streusel? Okay. Yeah. They call them, or they're calling them, I don't know, something Swedish. Cinnamon almond paste. Oh, no. I know one thing, my girlfriend would probably love these. I don't know about the almond. I don't know how she is with almonds, but some of the others, she would probably run my ass over on the way to the kitchen if I got these. Every once in a blue moon, I'll get like a large coffee cake or whatever streusel thing from the bakery, which usually is like a large pan. I don't know what you call it. I'll just say coffee cake, but I've gotten various other types. But those generally don't last long once I get them in, and half the time my girlfriend runs over my ass on the way to the kitchen to grab a bite. Out of stock, bastards. Probably a good thing for me. Damn. I mean, yay. I'm gonna have to try those though. Those are on my radar. Thanks a lot, Chicken Fried. Somebody talk about knives, so I'm looking at food. These are nice. They're shiny. They're pocket knives. You wouldn't know almonds. They're not whole or oh, really? Okay. So it's I see. Damn it. I have to go shopping tomorrow. I don't know if that's something that they have locally at my grocery stores. Maybe. I've never looked for them, so I couldn't really say, but they might be. Gee, thanks a lot. They'll be on my radar. Unfortunately or unfortunately, and it's been a while since I've gotten anything like donuts. I try not to get too many pastries. I still do because they're one of the things, my favorite, or my girlfriend's favorite things to eat, and she doesn't eat a lot due to everything that she's going through. It kind of puts a damper on her appetite. Like, she only really eats one meal a day, and that's, it's me generally cooking dinner. Sometimes I can get her to snack during the day, but I've really kind of got to entice her to snack. And one of the ways that I do that is generally like donuts or other pastries, because she likes those. Because otherwise she wouldn't eat. And the only problem with me getting donuts and pastries is I'll get them because I know she'll eat them. But it's hard for me to stay away from certain things like donuts and cake. And in the past, in order to avoid certain things, I would just simply not buy them. Here it's a little different because I buy them so she can eat them, but then now I'm surrounded by them when I do order them. And it's hard not to want to have a nibble or two. Especially if it's like a favorite type of donut or anything like cake. While I do prefer savory things, I have a certain weakness for donuts and cake. So those I will lay the smack down on if they're around the apartment. Usually I would just avoid buying them in general, because if they're not around me, I can't eat them. But I make sure there's at least a little supply in order for her to have something to snack on. It just means that I have to deal with them being in my vicinity. And my willpower can have its moments, but as you can see just by my knife collection, it's not very strong. You're a cake and bread. Oh, I do love fresh baked bread. I will say I do love a nice fresh baked bread. It's one of the reasons I had considered getting one, but I've decided it'd probably be a bad idea. I had considered getting a bread maker, and then I realized if I did, I would be going hog wild on it. And it occurred to me that health-wise, it probably would not be the best thing for me to get. I already slipped in my control, and I had to get a new rice cooker. And my girlfriend had the most basic rice cooker you can get. and I opted to get like a Japanese style rice cooker that also can cook cake, which I am now realizing is probably a bad idea. I have not used it to cook cake yet, but it's surprisingly an option in my rice cooker to cook cake. Very small loaves. It doesn't matter if it's very small loaves. They'll just end up making more of them, Morgan. I'll just end up making more of them. My parents had a bread maker, and oh my God, every time they made fresh baked bread, it drove me nuts. It would be hard for me not to annihilate the entire loaf. I don't know how I was thin as a kid. Somehow I managed to be. Then again, I was probably running around a lot more and had a lot more energy. That's probably why. Yeah, I've been contemplating getting one. It's just I'm beginning to think that it might not be the best idea if I'm trying to stay away from bread. Yeah, it would be game over. I would have a lot more health issues. You know how I've mentioned that, like, I've been borderline on occasion with diabetes, and I think that border would have been busted through. They do take a while, and it's not like they're instant bread, but I know I would be using a lot. I would be using it a ton. My dad, when he first got that bread maker, he would bake a loaf nearly every freaking day. And he would also experiment and buy different mixes or try different things. And oh my God. Like I said, I don't know how I didn't just balloon up in that household with a bread maker in it. But like I said, it's probably because I had a lot more energy at the time. That's shiny. I'm beginning to get a really big taste for Barlow's. Something about the Barlow is becoming a really, really just attractive to me. I don't know if it's because of the large bolster, the large amount of bone on the scale, or just a simple two-bladed, with a half stop. Because I like trappers, but you don't get a half stop on a trapper usually. I don't know. Maybe something about the looks, but these things are pretty sweet. Yeah, if I ended up with a bread maker, I'd be toast. Pun intended. Shiny. I don't know if I can get a good look at that etching too. Oh, that's a better look. Pocket worn mahogany. I forgot what kind of bone that is. I think that's corn cob jig. Does it say corn cob jig? Can't remember. Yeah, corn cob jig Barlow. The other thing I'm kind of down on is I'm gonna get the itch to burn another blade. Or not blade, but burn another knife. And I don't have anything currently that I'd like to torch. I did get another Mediterranean blue full-size trapper, pocket-worn Mediterranean, but I'm kind of liking the way it currently looks. So I now have a severe lack of knives to toast. And I know I'm going to get the itch soon to do that again. I just don't know what I would do it on, because I'd have to get something new. And I hadn't considered trying to burn anything like this. I think these look fantastic on their own. The rose crafts. I also don't know if they have anything weird that they coat their bone with, because I know case knives are pretty safe to burn. I haven't tried. I think I toasted a Remington, and then that one technically went well. I don't recall. I haven't tested out a burn on any Rough Riders, so I don't know if they coat their bone in anything weird. I know Browning does, or at least they use a really weird adhesive, and I did not like the smell of that, whatever it was burning off that bone. but I know I'm going to get the itch soon. All right. Well, it seems to be slowing down. So I know I mentioned that this might not be as long as some of my others. I do have some stuff I want to take care of. So unless somebody has any other questions on any of the knives that I have here, we very well might end it here. Again, these were the knives that I was carrying earlier. Forgot to have these out. This was, I was going to say my daily carry, but these two were my carry for the week. Was the Concept Loki. Fantastic knife, by the way. Really awesome size. Frame lock, titanium scales, really grippy, like insane texture on this. And an awesome profile on an S35 V and steel. I can't open this because I got a brace on. V and steel blade. Love this knife. One of the few knives I can still reverse flick, fortunately. But just an overall awesome blade. And then that Mediterranean blue bone that I did toast just a couple weeks ago. The pocket worn Mediterranean blue bone mini trapper. Still think this came out super awesome. I love the color on that. I was trying to emulate cases. What do they call it? They made a canoe out of a navy blue bone, and they called it a blueberry. Was that blueberry cobbler? I think they called it a blueberry cobbler. Can't quite recall, but I wanted to try to make my own, so I took the Mediterranean blue, toasted this one. I think it came out fantastic. I'm calling it a blueberry muffin, just to differentiate it a little bit. A blueberry muffin, pocket worn, and yeah, I love carrying this thing. This thing's also a very beautiful knife. But I think this is where we'll end it for today. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you guys all again so much for all the support as well. You guys have been absolutely amazing to me, and I appreciate each and every one of you watching, whether you're in chat or just lurking about. Thank you for being here. Normally I would try to raid somebody. I don't know if anybody's up. I know we've raided. Who did we raid last time? There's like one person that I think was it Ron Crow? I know there's like one person that generally runs their stream around the same time that I do. Let me look. I think it was Ron Crow. But if he is up, if he's running a stream, we'll try to raid into him. Or if there's anybody else. I've been trying to keep an eye on other streamers as well that are in the knife thing. Oh, yep, Ron Crow is still there. Let's go ahead and raid Ron Crow. And thank you guys again. Thank you, Chicken Fried, for the positive vibes. Thank you, Morgan, for all the food. Thank you, Mike. Amy's on her. I was gonna raid into Ron Crow because there's another knife channel going on. Yeah, just thank you everybody for being here and supporting me on my knife channel. Again, I know the future is going to be kind of weird. I'll keep you guys up to date. I still do plan on doing another live next week. I'm trying to pump out videos. I just know it's been really busy, and that's why it's been a little slow on pumping videos out. I do have some already recorded. It's just a matter of editing and getting those out, but I do intend on keeping this going. I just want to let you guys, or give you guys a heads up that changes might be on the way. And also not to ignore any warning signs like I did, like the numbness, the tingling. Get that checked out. Talk to your doctor. They'll probably refer you to a specialist, and maybe even suggest running an EMG. Do it. Do it. Don't hesitate. Don't take too long to think about it. If you can get it done, get it done. And hopefully it can save you a lot of issues later on. But thank you guys again so much. You guys in chat, you guys lurking about, awesome as always. I hope to see you guys in the next video. But please stick around. We're rating Ron Crow. And again, don't have an ending for this, so we're just going to go bye-bye. And let Ron Crow know I sent you. Thanks again. and bye. I know I have a button for this, and I just realized I had lost my button. Where'd I put my... There it is.